Welcome back to HBO Girls Rewatch. I'm Amelia.
And I'm Evan.
And today we're covering the series finale of Girls. The epilogue of Girls. One of the most hated episodes in this series, but also maybe perhaps in a quieter town, the favorite of them all.
Yeah, we'll of course get into this, but I don't have hate for this episode in my heart.
I don't have hate in my heart for this episode either. I really don't. And I went in being like, I remember being upset when I was 21 and watching this. But I think now that I'm 26, now that I've been spending a year and a half reviewing this show, I kind of understand why they made these choices.
Well, absolutely. Because the episode before this ends in such a clean way, where you're like, why can't the show just be a clean ending that doesn't make me feel convoluted? Like, I know where all these girls are kind of heading in some way. And then you get to this episode, you're like, it's crazy again. She's back to her old patterns. No one learned a lesson. What is going on? There's more than that. There's more than that.
People are afraid. I think the real reason everybody hates this episode is because they're looking at their own lives and they're hoping their own life isn't cyclical. But it is.
Boom.
So anyways, before we dive into the episode, let's do a quick check-in. How are you? I feel like we haven't recorded in forever because we took a week off.
Well, we actually took like 4.
Yeah, so it's been a lot. Like,
we
I'm
haven't done
different
an episode
now.
in a month.
I'm different now.
I didn't own this top or these pants. These
this
micro mini.
wasn't, my newly order hadn't been delivered yet.
No, literally. We're both in outfits we didn't have before.
By the way, I got a second Newly account and used my own promo code. But I had to use my mom's cell phone number, so they didn't think I was the same person.
Oh, that's actually. And did you do that for Gym Pass as well?
And thank you for bringing that up. I also did it for Class Pass, so I can now officially go to 3 Pilates classes like I was born to do.
You deserve it.
I literally wrote in like the middle of my journal at the beginning of January all the things I want, and one of the things was like to be able to afford to go to Pilates 3 times a week. Girl, I did it.
I have one friend who went to 3 Pilates classes total, and she swear it already changed her life over the course of like 2 months.
Well, you know, my Polly Pocket shoes, when I first bought them, I'd always fall over in them.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore.
I've
got core strength. Yeah, I haven't fallen in my Polly Pocket shoes
yet.
Wait,
has been a problem? Core strength the whole time?
Yes, of course.
Oh my god, so these Barbies would be falling over anyway in a tall,
I know,
because
of the way their bodies
are built.
We've all seen that YouTube video.
Yeah, of course.
My Polly Pocket shoe actually broke last night on my walk to my comedy show. It was absolute hell.
Oh my god, could a cobbler repair plastic?
Well, perfect friend of the pod, Mary, went PA mode and said, oh my god, let me go run and buy Gorilla Glue and fix these. She literally took the shoe off of me like I was Cinderella and literally like glued it, fixed it. I walked home. It was together again. So shout out to Burnett's that came before me. Came after me.
19-year-old Burnett's who go to Pace University can do so much with just $13 in their bank account and hope in their hearts.
And I literally believe that.
Yeah, literally.
I'm like, put that on merch.
Wait, did she buy the Gorilla Glue and not even Venmo you?
She didn't even Venmo request me. I should buy her something.
You should buy her something. It can't be a drink because she's not of legal age.
I think she just turned 21.
Oh, she just turned 21.
Well, but shout out to all our listeners that are 19 and listening to the podcast for trying to get into my comedy show, Girl Church, and being turned away at the door because they actually are 12 years old. And shout out to all the ones who are above 21 that were there. Literally love. There's nothing more fun than going to a Williamsburg bar to host a little show and have people be like, hey. I'm like, hi.
I'm having a real thing with angel numbers right now where I'm seeing 666 everywhere, which I thought
those are devil numbers, by the way.
No, but they're actually not in angel number terms. In numerology, 666 kind of just means like reappraising, new starts, new relationships, like figuring out something new, a cosmic change. And instead of actually the devil numbers. And it actually makes sense because I was talking to this girl who I swear to God has a personality of a cult leader, and it's the first girl I ever felt bi towards in my whole life. And she said her
pause the podcast. Not this again.
No, literally. See, so much has happened since the last episode and now. I could be bi.
This isn't fair.
Why is every girl's reaction that? It's like, you don't want to hook up with me. We
already have.
Well, I wouldn't call that a hookup.
And by the way, I would call it full sex.
But she said she sees her birthday everywhere. And my birthday one year was 666 because my birthday is June 6th, and one year was 2006, if you can even imagine.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. So when I was 8, I saw 66 everywhere. So it just makes sense. Like, of course, 666 is my angel number, is my numerology, because it was my birthday one year.
By the way, I went home. I have a 12-year-old sister. I saw her. She was hanging out with all her middle school friends. Really intimidating. I felt scared and nervous. One of them's like goth, so cool. She listens to the pod.
Oh, I'm
She's
obsessed.
12 years old. She was like, I love girls. And I'm like, you've seen the show. You're not even 5
What
foot.
are her takeaways? Why didn't we get her on the app?
I know. I'm like, oh, I literally was like, we have to have you as a guest.
A retrospective.
And then she ran away.
She should do this podcast in 10 years.
She should do a rewatch of this.
Oh, classic. She should listen to this podcast and then talk about her thoughts on it.
Yeah.
They're so out of touch. And they keep repeating their patterns over and over again.
They're cyclical for real. Okay, should we dive into the episode? Where were you when Girls came out?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Have we asked ourselves this question?
Yeah, we brought it up almost anytime we ask somebody else. We tell them.
We have this, but we've never been asked directly.
Oh, by the way, if you thought we were going to introduce a guest, we thought we would finish how we started, completely alone.
Well, I don't know if everyone thought that because they can read a title and it says featuring no one.
Right. So you guys probably guessed.
Yeah, we're ending this how we started this alone.
And I know we get 3 comments every day for 1.5 years saying we should totally get Lena Dunham for the finale.
And we would have loved to.
And I think that is an amazing suggestion.
It's a great idea.
Every single one of you out there who suggested it, amazing idea. Love what your brain is thinking about. We never really considered that. And the more you guys bring it up, we think it's just weird. Why would we ask her? She has nothing to do with this.
The show so well. She actually recently did an interview where she's like, it's so funny everyone loves this show online right now. I don't understand any of the jokes.
I know. She's like, I keep getting tagged in memes that don't make any sense. I'm like, okay, girl, we've tagged you over 4,000 times and you don't get it.
Oh, it's so funny.
Anyways, we actually do have something in store in the coming weeks that
will be huge and fun.
But
and I had to say, my dad bought us tickets to this person's show in November.
And by
not that
us,
it matters.
You and your dad,
not
my
me. Dad. You can come. You're gonna have to use your own Amex Primo code. You did have to have an Amex code to get a ticket.
Okay, well, I have Amex.
Oh my god.
I actually don't, but Abby Jacobson does.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Is that from her memoir?
No, it's from when she was promoting her memoir in Toronto, and she, of course, is like vegetarian. So she went to the vegan store I was working at, and I checked her out, and she paid with Amex and tipped me $3.
She tipped you at the vegan store?
Literally.
You were allowed to tip at a store?
No, it was like takeout.
Oh.
She was like, if I get buffalo cauliflower and the super Caesar green salad, is that going to be too much? And I'm like, by the way, no. Wait, why am I twisting my words like I'm drunk?
By the way, no. Yeah, you are a little drunk. I mean, our friend, we just FaceTimed them before and they're like, Amelia, you seem really drunk right now. I'm like, she's not drunk. I've seen her, but she is dressed like she's drunk. Like she's in an outfit she would drink in.
Yeah.
Not that your outfit looks like you put it on when you're drunk.
So, today we're covering Latching. Should we do a minute to win it? I think we should.
Yeah, I actually practiced.
Oh, okay. So do you want to start or bring us home?
I can start.
Okay. This is season 6,
episode 10. Latching. This is so sad. Hannah wakes up in bed and who's around her? Marnie. What is Marnie doing here? Marnie's like, I'm your best friend. I've been here. I'm not going anywhere. And I don't have any ulterior motives like Adam does. Fast forward 5 months. Hannah's at the baby doctor. Can I please see my old doctor? She begs the new doctor who's maybe a temp in a room. No, she's looking at waterfalls. And are you breastfeeding? I am, but you know what? Grover doesn't want to latch on. She heads back to the waiting room where Marnie's there drooling and reading a magazine around babies. So fun. Love that girl. They then get in the car where they have an intense conversation around formula and breastfeeding. And then Marnie breaks into an iconic song, Fast Car, Luke Combs Can Never, where Hannah first kindly... Luke Combs.
Tracy Chapman.
Well, he does a cover of it right now. Tracy Chapman's original, but he's doing a cover and it's like really popular.
And Hannah's like, shut up, Marnie. And Marnie's like, I don't want to. I'm going to keep singing. And then Hannah's like, shut up. And then Grover bursts into tears. And then Hannah's like, sorry, I yelled at you. And Marnie is like, it's fine. You just hate me because I love music. And she's like, I don't hate you because you love music.
She's like, I love that you love music.
Yeah. But anyways, they're at the house.
They're having intense conversations around swaddling the baby where Hannah tries to swaddle. Grover fails bad. LOL.
Marnie's being classic Marnie. Hannah's being classic Hannah. So immature. She's so mad. And Marnie is like trying to control everything and be like this perfect little helper girl. But then Hannah lashes out at Marnie, and Marnie is like, I'm calling your mother. So Loreen shows up, and Hannah's like, how dare you call Loreen? And Marnie's like, I need to be free. And then Marnie is, of course, taking little nude sex, whatever.
Up to Partition by Beyonce.
Yeah. And then Hannah walks in and is like, you have to hold this baby. I'm going to kill myself. And then she freaks out at her mom because her mom is like, grow up and be a mother.
Literally.
And Hannah's like, I'm not ready. And so she goes for a long walk where she meets a teen girl who she thinks was just abused. But she actually...
Diddled by her stepdad.
Diddled or tiddled? Diddled by her stepdad, but she was actually just running away from her mom because her mom was like, you have to do your homework before you hang out with your boyfriend. And that's when Hannah Horvath becomes Loreen Horvath and yells at this girl and is like, your mom's trying her best. And then she realizes she is ready for motherhood. So she walks home. A cop tries to help her and she's like, no. So the cop follows her. She gets back. She sits on the porch with Loreen and Marnie. Grover starts to cry. Loreen and Marnie get up to try and take care of Grover. And she's like, it's okay. I've got it. She sits down with Grover in the chair. And finally, he latches. And that's the end of Girls.
Aww. And Marnie contemplates becoming a lawyer. Lorraine is like, become a judge. She's like, okay. And and Marnie can't go to a cheese flight / jazz trio in the 3 towns over.
Yeah, and of course this isn't chronological, but have we ever
and
Lorraine's like that?
And Marnie's video sexting personal trainer in Weehawken, New Jersey.
Yeah, so Loreen has a heart-to-heart with Marnie where she's like, you can't live your life for other people. You have to follow your own happiness or else you're going to have resentment and you're going to lose your best friend like I did. She's talking about Dad.
Oh, it's really sad.
So that's 1 minute.
Yeah, we should have never done a 1 minute, I think.
Oh, was that a terrible segment?
Well, it was good and it was so fun to say, but I'm like, we missed so much, didn't we?
We really did.
Yeah.
And it really didn't lend itself to the flow of how an episode for a review should go. But we just wanted to refresh the plot in the hearts and minds of viewers.
It's so funny because on Gilmore Guys, they literally insert the whole recap of the episode like from the CW channel or like wherever it was playing.
I know, we should be doing a recap like audio where it's like all the little one-liners.
But it's impossible. And
we can't change the past. So
we can't. Let's beg, please.
And by the way, we can change the past. And that's why over the course of the next 2 months, we'll be re-releasing some replacement episodes.
We actually did change the past.
Evan, I have a very important question to ask you.
Yeah.
Girl, what girl are you?
Oh my God. I'm the scene where Hannah's in her school shooter-esque garb from 13 Reasons Why. She's wearing her baggiest jeans, a zip-up hoodie, and she runs into someone I can only describe as
It is 13 Reasons Why. It's that brunette with naturally curly hair.
Absolutely.
Whose mom is Addison from Grey's Anatomy.
And then she runs
Selena Gomez, executive producer. Sorry,
you're right.
You're sparking
you have a lot
a part
of
of my
facts.
brain.
That show is really big. We could do a rewatch on that because there's so much to say.
This is our big reveal. We will be covering 13 Reasons Why after this,
Literally.
episode by episode.
That's an insane show.
It's time for us to tackle suicide.
We're the
suicide. We're the two that can do it.
Our fan base is 14-year-olds. And then a spring breaker comes running up the road. It's the only way you could describe this girl.
A spring breaker? Not to bring up Selena Gomez again.
No, but literally let's tie the two together. And I just felt like the parallels in her relationship.
Pause. On my way here, Nia from
Breaker?
Dance Moms posted on Instagram a selfie with Selena Gomez. What are the chances?
Wait, friendly encounter, or is she doing only murders in a building?
We're going to have to wait and see. Unpause.
No. Oh, God. Yeah, so just the intersect of that, like this really cartoonish trope of like where Hannah was at her most neurotic and like Hannah being a full-on mother, and just like the duality of those two things where like Hannah is like trying to learn to grow up, but then she has to walk home almost butt naked.
And that's what girl you are?
Yeah. Is that fun and cool?
Do you feel butt naked but trying to grow up?
Or at my jazz trio with the cheese flight with the Chardonnay pairing.
Yeah.
A trouble pairing.
So this is, of course, a reference to Marnie being like, I want to go out in upstate New York. I want to get a cheese fight at a jazz trio.
Girl, are you?
Okay, so when the series began, the first pilot of this podcast, I said I was a Marnie, but that I think I'm gonna grow out of it. So that is ultimately not the case.
Really?
I'm gonna go ahead and still be Marnie through and through. Marnie's entire battle of like wanting to take care of something else so she doesn't have to like face her own thing. And her commitment to that making her morally superior and her complete disregard for the growing resentment that will ultimately cause her is so me coded.
And you always talk about wanting to become a lawyer because you love laws.
I've never said that.
Yeah, you have.
My brother's a lawyer. Why would I do that?
I know, but in a way you would be a great lawyer. But didn't we say on this same podcast you'd be an amazing lawyer because you operate from a place of emotion?
You mean logic?
No, we said emotion.
You know what made me feel the most like Marnie was the scene where Loreen is like, are you happy? And she's like, it doesn't matter if I'm happy. And Loreen is like, why? I'm like, if that happened to me, I would burst into tears. And like, because it's not like that. Like, I'm supposed to do this because this makes me this. Like, it's going back to our famous phrase we like to say, Marnie loves things that look good on paper. So that in that way, I feel like Marnie. I hope that's an okay answer.
Yeah, but you have a much thicker braid than she does.
Thank you for saying that, Evan.
I definitely noted that.
Thank you.
And I think her outfit's something closer to what I would wear.
Her outfits in this, I mean, we'll get into it in our last segment. Okay.
I love the colonial garb.
Let's cut to our first break. And when we get back, we will lean into Lena for the last time ever.
It's not true.
And we're back, and now we will be leading into Lena for the last time ever.
You already said we're doing another episode. LOL.
Okay, I actually made a bunch of bullet points. So
wait, where's my phone?
Let's start at the very first scene of the episode, which is the classic scene.
My God.
This has happened, 4 times now? It's how season 1 started. It's how season 2 started. It's how season 3 ended, I believe.
Yeah, it did happen season 4.
It's all getting blurry
she
right
wakes
now.
up with Elijah in season.
Yeah, but okay, opening pilot episode of the series, we've got this tracking shot of Hannah in bed with somebody. Is it a boyfriend? Is it her friend Marnie? It is her friend Marnie.
Yeah.
And so that's the pilot. The finale, same thing, except Marnie is not wearing a mouth guard anymore. Interesting. Did she just get over grinding her teeth? That's my biggest question.
Well, because she has to live in her mom's personal gym right now. I'm sure she didn't have time to grab her mouth guard on her way to go to Hannah's apartment and sleep over.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah, I feel
like
much
if you're
better.
staying in someone's apartment, I don't think you're bringing a mouth guard.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'd hope.
But
yeah, it's a very nice motif in this show. Like, I really do like that so much of the show begins and ends. And like,
I'd say it's the green light, Great Gatsby of girls.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because there's not as many close.
But of course, a motif is like a reoccurring theme, and this is just a reoccurring shot, like camera shot. But
maybe it's a theme though.
It's the theme of
who is it for us to say on this couch right now that's not a theme?
It's basically signifying like Hannah's codependence and inability to be alone, which I think this episode is all about. Like, the idea of girls is so about Hannah figuring out how to be her own person and like have autonomy over her life and not be like having help from her parents and whatever. But the series kind of ends with her learning how to ask for help from her friends and family.
Well, I think
but then it ends alone.
No, it doesn't. I think it begins that way. Like, the episode kind of begins with her begrudgingly taking on help from Marnie.
And she's mad her mom's there. But then
she's someone who always wants to ask for. She always is someone that wants help, but never really wants to ask for help itself. And she doesn't want help from very specific people because she feels like it reflects negatively on her. Like, asking her mom for help, especially after her mom cut her off. Like, she's like, if you're gonna cut me off, I want to be independent.
Of course. And the same thing with Marnie, where she's like, and now Marnie's trying to control everything and it's making me feel like I'm bad at this.
Right, exactly.
Like with the swaddling of all that.
Yeah.
But so we start with that, and Marnie has an amazing line. I wrote it down. Where she basically begs Hannah to let her move upstate with her. She is saying
the speech.
Well, she
I'm
says,
your best friend.
Yeah.
I'm the only one here. Where's Adam?
I still have a lot to give, so why not give it to you and this little angel?
Oh, right.
And then Hannah's like, you really don't have to do that. And she's like, do you have many friends? Because all of them are not here. And she's like, I'm here. I win. I'm your best friend. I'm the best at being your friend. I love you the most. And then Hannah's like, okay. And then Marnie's like, yeah. And then Hannah's like, okay, yeah. And then Marnie's like, fuck yeah, with a fist. And then it cuts to 5 months later where they're both getting tired of each other.
Right. And we get the amazing scene of every cover from HBO Girls. Like the cut, like the first, what would you call that? The screen card?
The screen guard.
Where it says girls on it. And it's like.
Oh,
it's
the
like
title card?
The title card. You get to see all of them in this one.
When?
It's like the title card for this one is all of them.
Oh, I totally missed that. That's amazing.
And we never gave props to the graphic design department in this show, but they actually did a great job of using fonts throughout the whole thing.
Hey.
Literally, that's it.
This is it.
It's part
For
of it.
audio listeners, we have it printed on the wall.
Yeah, they did a really great job, the graphic design department, and they understood font in a really strong way.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to.
I can't think of many other shows that understood font in such a strong way.
I can think of so many, almost all of them.
Don't say that to me right now.
Do you remember the morning show opening theme thing where it's all the opening theme thing?
With the balls?
With the balls. Love that.
I love that.
Also, me high last night on Instagram, like tearing up at a photo of Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, and somebody else like filming the morning show. They're all just like holding scripts and like in their casual jeans for a table read.
I love that show. There's so many. We've actually discovered we love so many shows right here on this couch.
Wow, to love TV. Okay. What?
You know, it's the only thing keeping me going. I love TV so much, and I said it to someone last night at the bar to go, I don't watch TV. I'm like, well, you don't know love.
TV saved my life
TV
as a
is
child.
the best thing on earth.
The only thing that made me feel okay as a kid was TV shows.
And still today, at my worst moments, I have the Mindy Project.
Tracy Chapman's Fast Car.
Right. So then we go to the doctor's office where Hannah is now. Marnie had driven her there, but she's alone inside this high pressure situation where she was an authority figure and she doesn't really know how to handle herself. Like, she's very combative. She's not really.
Well, she's really stressed. I think it's cool that Girls is like, let's cut to like postpartum depression.
Right.
Let's cut to like the thick of it. Like, she's trying so hard to like nourish this baby. She's really committed to wanting to be able to breastfeed.
Extra 2,000 calories a day, and that means eating Bisquick.
Yeah, literally. Like, she's trying really hard to do it right, but the baby is rejecting her. And very much like a through line of this episode is Hannah is treating her baby like all the other men in her life, where she's like when she's trying to get Grover to latch.
That's such a funny
She's
scene.
literally like yelling like, you're so fucking annoying.
Oh, you think you're the first man who didn't like these boobs? How original. Literally. I love the line where she's like, a lot of businessmen would pay a lot for this to happen to them.
Literally.
She's cursing at her baby.
She's cursing at Grover. And then she literally cries to her mom. She's like, my baby just doesn't like my whole vibe. And Loreen is like, you can't say that, you stupid idiot. But I feel like moms feel that way. It's so interesting that Lena was like, we have to cover this because she herself like wasn't a mother. She of course can't have kids. I wonder if she knew at this time like if she was gonna have like fertility issues.
Amazing mother. Like, she really, like, you did believe she was a new mother. She had stretch marks on her boobs, and she like all the signs of being pregnant. They got it in post.
I just think it's so interesting that like,
not that she couldn't have stretch marks on her boobs for other reasons, but I do
nice save, Evan.
I do think they added a little bit more in post.
I don't know if they did.
I don't know if they did, but I've seen her body so many times, and it did look different here.
I'm just like, it's so interesting because Girls is so from her mind of her mind for
Right.
the finale to be about something she herself has never experienced. I wonder how much like Judd Apatow's influence was there because he of course is dad.
She based this off, I think it's called like Melissa something. It's like a show that she really loved. I think something Lena does a really good job is observation. Like, there are actually plenty of things in this show that she never experienced herself. Like, she actually never really lived with roommates after college. She moved immediately into her parents' home and then bought like her own apartment in New York City with her like quick success with girls. Like, she doesn't have this like specific friendship of 4 girls from like different walks of life all coming together, but she's able like
different walks of life.
Well, one's from England.
Loosely.
4 girls with similar walks of life.
They're so diverse, these girls.
Literally. But she does a great job of just like her power of observation is insane, of herself and of others. I think like she's still able to write a very convincing portrayal of a mother and how Hannah would be as a mother. And I think it's especially reflected in her interaction with Becky Ann Baker. That woman can act the hell boots. She invented Mother.
What we talk about when we talk about Mother, Becky Ann Baker.
Becky Ann Baker. She really, I mean, if there's one voice of a generation for this whole show, it is proven in this episode.
Emmy for Becky Ann Baker.
I know. Can we do it now?
The Emmy noms came out this year, and I have to say, what happened?
The bear got what, 27? Doesn't matter.
So of course the growing tension between Marnie and Hannah is the conflict of the episode. So we see just them get angrier and angrier, and I actually think Marnie handles Hannah's behavior really well. Like Hannah literally attacks her character, says the meanest stuff to her on the porch, and then she's actively pumping in like this crazy outfit. So Marnie's only response is like, okay, Ghostbuster.
Hannah says the craziest sentences to her. It's all your fault. You're doing a bad job. Completely reflecting her own insecurities onto Marnie herself.
Yeah.
Being like, you're a terrible mother, almost essentially, even though it's exactly how she feels herself. And like, instead of taking the onus on herself, she loves to always victimizing herself.
I do think it would be really hard to be Hannah Horvath, really struggling. You're tired, like your kid doesn't seem to like you. And then Marnie's over here like reading these parenting books, being so like, hee, this is so sweet. Right. This is a fantasy. So when Hannah calls Marnie out of like, sorry, you want to go get a flute of wine because this didn't live up to your fantasy of being like a pitch perfect Britney Snow fairy tale.
Are you taking Hannah's side on this? No. I mean, Marnie's there from the goodness of her heart. Whatever she contributes to it, I think is enough. Like,
yeah, it's just the way she goes about it.
It's very uppity. It's in your face. She feels like she's better than you.
She's like, can you, the reason like Grover won't latch is because he can feel that your anxiety.
But in a way, she's doing a more on paper, like we like to say, is doing a better job at like actually giving Grover the essential things he needs. Like she's able to swaddle Grover in a way Hannah's not able to, where the blanket falls off immediately. Hannah's the kind of mom where it's like, when you grow up, you kind of would realize what your trauma was with the experience with that woman. Marnie's like, you would have to go to a few therapy sessions to unlock that.
What?
It's like, because Marnie's so good at, I would say, being a mom on paper. Like she would be there to breastfeed and it would work for her right away. And she's able to swaddle a baby without any concern and like does all the things a baby would need. But the stronger emotional things, I feel like Hannah actually might be better at. Like the vulnerability is really where that would come through. And like Hannah is so aware of her inherent flaws, and she has this whole conversation with Loreen where she's like, I'm a person who's flaky and quits on everything, and like, what if I raise a man that's that way? And Marnie's someone who's like sees herself in such great light. Hannah and her have this conversation where she's like, Marnie's like, I was on breastfed and you are on formula, and it's clearly how much better I am than you. Here's a great example.
Meanwhile, it's like Marnie's not even doing anything that cool.
No, she's not doing anything that cool. She's just like better at reading a magazine in her free time.
I love the line when they're like, Marnie's vaping in the waiting room of the doctor's office, and she's like, everybody here looks pretty fucking formula fed to me.
Right, it's so funny.
I'm like, girl, you're nuts. So Hannah, of course, loses her goddamn mind, goes for a walk, runs into a teen. And she has
the teen played by Ruby Rose, who's actually
what's her last name? Because Ruby Rose is a very famous person.
Right. There's a lot of Ruby Roses out in the world, but she's a Ruby Rose who's only part-time actress, part-time mortician's assistant is her day job.
I looked up her Instagram. She's cool. She looks like she'd be a fun to hang out with.
She's a gorgeous face.
She should come to our house party. You know what I mean?
We should have had her on this episode.
We'll call her now. But yeah, so Hannah, of course, becomes an adult finally, basically, by trying to help this teen girl who she thinks just went through something traumatic. But it turns out she's just like Hannah and is being dramatic about nothing. And in this moment, she realizes like what her mother went through. It's crazy that she can only suddenly appreciate her mom after becoming a mother.
Well, it's not even that. It's like now because she's only raising a baby, which is so different from like raising a teenager or 20-something, or like the relationship between someone who has a morally formulated brain. So her having this conversation with the teen.
She is so good at teaching. She really is good with the youth.
She's really good with the youth. But like she's able to really be like, I am a parent here.
She sees herself in this teen, and then by also now seeing her mother's side, she's able to really formulate in her mind like what motherhood will be like and what she was like. Because she even says the line of like, yeah, and then you have a kid and they're a brat to you and you love them still and you just want to hug them and make sure they're okay.
Right. It was my girl. What girl are you? It's like that's how I am understanding it, even I'm not yet a mother. But
are you gonna be a mom?
Hopefully one day. That'd be huge.
I don't know if I want to be.
But I do think it's a very interesting conversation she has with this runaway teen. She's like, your mother, she's given up on experiences so she can be there to help you do your math homework. Or it's like, who says moms have to give up on experiences? Right? I don't love that trope that she's like, moms give up everything to raise their children. And they do sacrifice a lot, but it's like, let's not pigeonhole and say that moms have to give up experiences in order to be a mother. It's like they still are doing so much, by the way.
This is such a tricky episode and topic because it is like the idea for so long and still is the popular idea is like when you become a mother, you no longer are you're a mom.
Yeah, you live for someone else.
But in this more modern age, I even think in the last 10 years, it shifted a little bit the conversation. Thanks to Busy Phillips. She's like, I am Birdie's mom, but I'm also the star of the Emmy-nominated series Girls 5 Eva.
I'd actually say, if we're going to go a little bit deeper, it's Bethany Frankel. She is Lynn's, whatever her name is, Lynn's mom, but she also is a TikTok celebrity.
Skinny, what is it?
No, she sold all that stuff.
Skinny Wine's gone?
Skinny Girl Margarita?
Yeah.
Well, she sold it, yeah.
Damn.
But she made a lot of money from it.
I love Bethany, but only because people are like, you're kind of like Bethany.
Well, Bethany Frankel's a great example that moms can still experience stuff while still raising a child. And that's why so many people are really relating to her online right now. And like, that's why I actually kind of resent Hannah's monologue here, where she's like really putting aside being like, moms have to just give everything to their child. We're like, I don't like that all the time. Because when moms do that, they have a hard time separating themselves from like the actual child of it all. And then
because then their identity is their child, and it's like this issue, and then the kid resents that because they actually are their own person and they hate.
They don't be the world of their mother. They didn't ask for that.
Yeah, they don't want to be like the proxy.
Literally, they don't want to be the proxy.
But I love the scene with Becky and Baker. Hannah's in the bathtub, interior bathtub. Our last time interior bathtub. And, you know, Loreen's just talking about like how hard it was and how it felt so lonely. Because Hannah's having this experience where she's like, I feel so alone, even though Marnie is there. Like, she doesn't understand like what this feels like. Like, it's a bruise to her ego that her son won't latch. She feels literally like she's doing everything wrong and she's completely alone. And when she complains, nobody gets it. I also think that it's interesting, like, in early motherhood, how much the focus is on the baby. And I mean, even historically, like, it's like this mother just gave birth. Like, is she okay? Can we check in with her? But everybody's like, check the baby's vitals, check this. And it's like, okay, is this woman okay? I mean, think about all the women who died.
She's still bleeding.
In child labor. She's still bleeding 6 months later. That's so stressful. She's like, my butthole is still attached to my front hole. That's so stressful. And I never want that to happen to me.
Right. But Becky Ann Baker does let Hannah know that it gets so much harder. Like, this isn't the hard part of being a mother. It's actually like, as the child grows up and you have to really understand how to mother them in a way that's not just like you providing, but you also like finding the nice balance of it all. And Hannah is so resentful of this fact.
I think it's like when she decided to keep the baby, she thought it wasn't going to be this hard, and she's just shocked, and she's like, why did nobody tell me? And Becky's like, this is just how it is. I love like when they're running around the house and Becky is like, this isn't some grad program you can get your tuition money back from. This isn't some boyfriend you can get rid of.
This isn't a lease you can break.
Yeah, like it's all the things that have been plot points in the previous 6 seasons that were fixable or solvable in some way.
It's not something that happened to her. Like, she chose this. Like, there's been so much conversation around her having an abortion, or like Laird offered to adopt the baby. There's an offer for her to like raise a baby with a father figure who's Adam, but she chose no to all these options. She said, I'm going to go it alone. And she's now acting like she's a victim because of that. Or at least when she's having this conversation where she's like, no one understands how hard my life is. I'm a single mother and I chose one of the hardest things to do on earth, which is say no to all help, even or any other option. And I'm going to raise this baby. And she's almost resentful of the fact still, where it's like, no, honey, this is what you decide to do. Now, like, own up to it, girl. And Becky Ann's like, I know you're suffering, but by the way, Hannah, everyone else on earth is suffering as well.
In the arc of the series, it's like finally her realizing that she can't run away from this, or this isn't like some temporary like thing that she can blog about. Like, this is
it's not Iowa.
Yeah, it's her mom being like, this is forever.
Don't you think that this is kind of a perfect way for the show to end? Like, it's a challenge that she can't run away from. Like, she's been faced with things like we were talking about Iowa, or her job at GQ, or her relationship with Adam, and so many things are her just like truly running away or leaving the situation.
Does she have to learn the lesson of not being selfish from becoming a mother? I mean, that really is outdated. The idea that the only way you can learn to not be a narcissist is to give life to a human. I also think motherhood is narcissistic. You're like, oh, I want a little baby just like me. It's like, get over yourself. Like, the way young parents are so like, I'm so selfless for being a mother. And I'm like, nobody asked you to have the baby. So we covered Hannah's arc. Shout out to her. She got her baby to latch. What a beautiful closing scene. Marnie, on the other hand, where is she headed next? She
potentially law school.
She's so committed to helping fulfill this fantasy of like helping her best friend raise this baby upstate, but it's mainly because she doesn't know what to do. Her marriage failed, her career failed. Who is she supposed to be? But Loreen is like, you know what? It's not too late to start a new chapter. It's actually now is the perfect time to start a new chapter. And maybe don't commit yourself to spending 20 years raising this kid with Hannah, because it's going to be like me and Tad, where it ends terribly and you hate your best friends. You guys were going to last as friends a lot longer if you go and pursued your own life separate from Hannah.
Literally. And I do think it's funny. Interesting parallel is that when Hannah's talking to a female author, she's like, all these male authors think they have to run away to upstate New York in order to write their best memoir, but you have to live life. So Marnie's kind of experienced this thing where she's like living life, but also running away to upstate New York to escape her problems and like essentially write her memoir.
I want to escape upstate.
Yeah, you deserve it.
I just don't know how to afford that. I keep wanting...
We're going on Thursday.
I asked for 2 weeks off of work, and it's like, so I can hang out in my apartment and not look at my email. Like, I can't afford to travel anywhere. What the hell?
Go to Red Hook. It's a vacation of Brooklyn.
It seems really hard to get there, especially since the G is down.
Yeah, oh, that's so true.
Oh, what a time capsule. People listening to this podcast episode will be like, oh, they recorded that when the G was down that one summer. By the way, it's 100 degrees in this room. I'm fighting for my life in this 4D top.
I wish we could have fan on, but it will be terrible for the audio.
It'll be too loud. What do we think about Loreen being like, you were flicking your little clip, Miss Marnie Michaels?
This could be even our last point, which is so funny.
What do you mean?
We've kind of wrapped all the other points around except for Marnie flicking her bean.
I love that Loreen is like, it's okay. Like, I totally get it.
Well, yeah, Loreen's in one of her most punk rock outfits in this scene.
She's being so punk rock. She's like, you know, I'm single. I wank a little too. And Marnie's like, no, you don't understand. It's different because I'm
video chatting.
I'm video chatting a random, what is he, a fitness instructor?
He's a personal trainer in Weehawken, New Jersey.
Delvin P. Delvin P. Amazing. It's like, we were hoping in the finale we'd get a couple more random names. I actually wrote them all down. And Delvin came in. Did we ever get the name of the girl or just her boyfriend, Jason?
So, yeah, we didn't get the girl's name, but we did get the Jason name. We also got an amazing nickname that Riley, I'm reading Riley's text, that Marnie has for Grover, which is Grovito.
Grovito.
And then Loreen's friend, who's a judge, her name is Patricia Domingo.
God, they have fun.
Who goes on 5 Christian mingle dates a week. And she has a great self-tan.
I'm going to miss this town.
I'm going to miss this town.
Oh my God.
I know.
But yeah, I love that Loreen is there to push Marnie along, ask her some big questions. And I feel like Marnie's actually listening. And you know what? She is eager to have like a life outside. I think it's easier for her to still see herself as like this sexually viable girl who kind of wants to date.
She's never hotter than in this episode.
Literally.
She looks when she's holding the baby, I'm like, she didn't look hotter to me in this whole show than when she's holding a baby with the landscape of upstate New York in the background, the sun shining on her eyes.
She's so beautiful in her sundresses.
I know.
It makes me be like, more dads should be hot when the baby's little. Because like, of course, the mom is like stressed and busy and tired, but the dad should be in full glam every day.
Allison Williams, like, she's of course beautiful episode 1, but she really has a glow up throughout all 6 seasons. Like, gets even more beautiful.
You think?
I just rewatched the pilot. Her buccal fat is removed, and I think it's from organic nature.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, everybody is hottest in their 40s. So as she inches closer to 40 by being 28 by the end.
I'm like, are you sure about that?
Well, legally.
No, 26. They say your mid to late 20s are your hottest time.
No, they say for women, they're hottest in their 40s.
Really?
Yeah. And they don't even start enjoying sex until their 30s.
Criminal. Groveto.
Is this the episode where what was I watching or listening to where they say your 20s are supposed to be I was watching a Taylor Tomlinson Facebook clip of stand-up where she's talking about how everybody is telling her that your 20s are your best years, the best years of your life, like whatever, and she's like, okay, I just used a McDonald's napkin as toilet paper, this is as good as it's gonna get, it's worse from here. Where it's like, yeah, your 20s suck, you have no idea what you're doing, you're stupid, you're lost, you're afraid.
The amazing thing at Taylor Tomlinson is like no one can tell her jokes other than her.
I love her ass.
I love her ass.
Oh,
she's
my
having
God.
so much fun.
In this house, we love millennial.
We love Milan. Is there any other amazing notes? I think
we should just should we bring back quote o'clock for one night only?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay, the quotes.
They're clocking.
You yelled at me for loving music. There's honestly nothing to talk about. And Hannah's like, I love that you love music, but we already said that.
I raised a baby in the 80s. All those cunts in their linen pants. Becky Ann Baker says that to Hannah. Oh
yeah, of course. All those cunts in their linen pants. Every time you say nipple, a fairy dies.
The guy at the ShopRite is more interested in my boobs than my baby is.
Do you need help? I'm not a hooker.
Do I have any more?
You disinfect the scale in between babies, right?
There's so many good quotes in this.
I know. Okay, this is a perfect episode. Let's cut to our second break, and when we get back, we'll dive into our last 2 segments. Girl, get your Glock. It's rapid fire time. Are you ready, Evan?
I'm ready.
I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions, and you need to answer them as quickly as you can. You think you have a lot of friends, right?
I like to think that, but I'm invited to more partyfuls every week than people will show up to my comedy shows. That's my biggest sickness.
Do you think you and your baby would have good chemistry?
Oh yeah, we would have chemistry more than anything else.
I don't think me and my baby would get along. Are you making an envelope with your nipple?
No, but I actually would love to learn.
What's grosser than a jazz trio?
A quadruplet.
Okay. A, B, C, or D? I'm mentally ill. I'm overweight. I isolate people. I'm a quitter.
E, all above.
Do you think I should use oxygen mask on his dick?
If he's in C11, then yes. Oh no, mine deleted. Do you know who's in emotional pain?
Everyone.
Were you breastfed or were you formula fed?
I think a little bit of both.
Do you think the girl will have enough time to see her boyfriend and do her history homework?
No way. I took A-Push. I know how hard it is. You're not having a boyfriend and getting a 5 on the exam, honey. I didn't get a 5 by having a boyfriend named Jason. I got a 5 by sitting alone in my house and reading things I didn't care about.
Officer Schmood, are you going to let him follow you home?
Officer Schmood?
He's the officer that follows Hannah home.
Absolutely not, A-Cab.
And then lastly, are you a prostitute?
No, but I celebrate sex workers.
Sorry, I don't like that as the last one.
Can you ask me, are you a schoolgirl?
Are you a schoolgirl or you get schooled, girl?
I'm gonna get schooled, girl.
Yay.
Wow.
Did you feel like you finally got the Glock?
I feel like I finally got the Glock.
Oh, thank God. Took about 6 seasons, 10 episodes.
You know what? We have one segment left, Evan.
Oh, no.
That outfit in Brooklyn. That's where we compare Brooklyn then to Brooklyn now. I wrote down so many things. First and foremost, the most striking that outfit in Brooklyn of the episode. I think the first... Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Marnie Julie.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Marnie Julie. 3, 2, 1. Marnie vaping.
Okay, so she actually has a Juul pod. Like, it's a Juul. And if it's 2017, she still would have the option of getting mango.
So this guy, Mason, that was in my high school, was the first guy I knew, or girl, first person with a Juul pod, and he was juuling mango flavor in the 700 building stairwell after chemistry. And I was like, that is crazy. And then I remember Googling about Juuls and being like, that's so scary. What do you mean there's cotton inside of them? Have you seen the inside of a Juul pod?
No.
It's nasty. It's literally like cotton.
Isn't it just oil?
It's cotton and oil.
Yeah, there's cotton in a cigarette.
It's really scary.
Oh, I don't care. There was a kid in my high school who was so distraught by Juuls that he used to film freshmen who would Juul in the bathroom, and he made a documentary called Juul Nation. It ended up on Good Morning America.
That actually sounds awesome. And congrats to him.
And were you ever Juul?
Documentary. So I've never been Juul. I mean, when I worked at a startup in LA, I bought a vape so I could connect with the talent. Yeah. It was like really good to be like, oh yeah, you can have like a hit on my vape.
Oh my God, I just was reading a book and this guy picked up cigars because he knew the most powerful man in the room liked cigars, and he would smoke the cigar as a way to communicate with the most powerful man in the room.
In a similar way, right. I knew Sarah Baska would show up to her podcast recording if I had a Juul in hand for her.
Yeah, Juul cultures. I went to a college where Juuls were so powerful, but I never bought one, but kids were so rich and also so forgetful that every single day in my walk from my apartment to the business school, I'd find a Juul on the ground. So I just kind of keep it. And that's $40.
It's crazy to think that like Vape Nation has lasted as long as it has. Do you think we're even on the way out? Because I don't think so. Some of the greatest TikTok creators of our time are addicted to vape.
Yeah, but it's like you think it's going to be over, but then there's the crazy thing called addiction. It kind of keeps it around.
You think it's going to be over, and then Emma Chamberlain's like addicted to Zyn.
It's really cool. I will give it to them. It looks so fun to push smoke out of your mouth, especially in a baby doctor's office.
No, yeah. Shout out. It's cool that Marnie's the vape girl of all the girls. You'd think it'd be Jessa.
I know.
Anyways, next thing, referencing Don't Fuck with Cats and Room with Brie Larson. Oh, yeah. So Hannah
They mentioned Don't Fuck with Cats, but that only came out recently.
I know. So I was going to ask you. So Hannah says like a throwaway line.
Which is so funny.
Her son's going to grow up to like abuse animals and build a room like Room.
Which is so funny to say.
Which is such an insane thing to say about your son, Groper. But it was like when Brie Larson had just won the Oscar, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a perfect reference, very timely, but I thought
it was hilarious.
But I guess animal abuse has been around before the documentary Don't Fuck with Cats that came out in 2020. And we're logging out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I also wrote the fact that they were watching TV. They were watching Full House, my favorite show as a child, on the smallest TV with the biggest antennas in North America.
Oh my God, I know.
What was going on?
You have to do that in upstate New York because they don't have cable in the same way.
Really?
And I'm sure they only got like 14 channels.
Is antenna still happening? You know what?
Yeah, my grandpa had antenna for like a while.
I briefly looked at the Reddit for this episode, and everybody was so pissed about how nice Hannah's house was.
I kind of was too, but that's what you get upstate.
How dare she like get a professor role? Like she would never be able to afford that house and decorate it that well that quickly, and she would never get her professor job. Also, she hasn't been paid yet. How is she affording this house upstate?
Oh, that's a good point. Here's my counterpart. Some say okay, so they filmed the college at Vassar, but people think she actually went to Bard. There's a lot of controversy. We can't actually tell what college she went to.
Comment down below what college you think she went to.
You think Vassar might be a wealthier college, is better ranked, but Bard actually has so much money because this billionaire like 6 years ago gave them $60 million.
I went on a Hinge date with somebody who went to Vassar.
Yeah, everyone in Brooklyn went to Vassar.
I said okay.
I love
is
Marnie's.
John? Wait, sorry. Just to finish that one out, is John Stamos still single?
Oh, he's still hot.
Because I know it's like it has been 10 years now, and he's still just as hot.
Yeah.
Like he's almost 70. I mean, Bob Saget's dead.
Yeah, it's not Full House anymore.
You know, my current company, when I first started, I had to edit one episode of Bob Saget's podcast, and then he died.
No.
It was crazy.
well, I don't want to.
Is that too sad? Should I cut that?
No, it's hilarious.
Okay, I'm being real.
I love that Marnie has a Morphe case that's a charger as well. Do you remember how big these cases were?
It was before Casetify took over the nation.
But it's also like the charging to the phone. I have one of these now, but everyone I knew that had that charger, it destroyed their battery like this is doing to me right now. I have one of the portable chargers that sticks onto the back of your phone, but she had that case. And everyone I had that was like, it's so fun. They liked it for 2 months. And then they would have to constantly be charging your phone even with extra battery because it would just like destroy their bad life because the battery's constantly charging and getting destroyed.
The way this episode closes with the thematic statement that life is a circle, and then we're doing that up in Brooklyn, and every point we're bringing up is a circle.
The girl's wearing an Abercrombie. That's back now.
Okay. Her wearing an Abercrombie graphic tee and then wearing an Aeropostale zip up over it is the most 2015 thing I've ever witnessed in my life. Is it too on the nose? Maybe. But maybe just enough.
Like, you can tell they filmed this in 2016 versus 2017 because a lot happened between that year for Abercrombie and Aeropostale.
You know what? I'm surprised she wasn't in slides and Nike Pros.
Yeah, girls were wearing a lot of leggings. Like, that girl would have left the house without leggings during 2016, 2017.
Been in leggings.
She would be wearing Lululemon leggings.
We didn't even talk about this, but like Hannah giving her jeans and then being like, give them back, and she runs away. You psycho lady.
Well, I think this is funny. Hannah calls that girl a brat. So
Brat Summer.
It's Brat Summer.
Yeah.
So if you ever say the word brat back then, of course, it has a completely different meaning. But you say it now, it's actually a positive thing. You call someone a brat, it's like, well, then they're killing it. They're doing almost everything right in life.
Yeah, literally. Every time I wear a green shirt, people are like, you're a brat. I said, this is amazing. My dream's coming.
That girl would love that today if she's being called a brat.
Literally.
And Aeropostale is so bratty, honestly, in both ways.
Something about the judges on The Voice.
Yes, so Becky
The Voice
Ann
was
Baker,
having a huge moment.
Yeah, it was huge. And Becky Ann Baker's like, well, Hannah was like, last time she was here, all she did was complain about how the judging is broken on The Voice.
And it is.
It is.
It's not
rigged.
Set up right, that show.
No, Ariana Grande always gets the best picks. What?
Is Katy Perry a judge on that, or that's American Idol?
She was American Idol, but Demi Lovato was on The Voice.
Short hair or long hair Demi?
Great question. I think short.
Okay.
They've had everyone on those kind of shows. They had Miley Cyrus on The Voice too.
Who was the big one? Christina Aguilera. She was the star judge to me. Also, CeeLo Green.
I miss C.
I miss that song that's like, I wanna be a billionaire. So
is that him?
Fucking
That's
bad.
Bruno Mars girl.
I know, but
You've been riding round town with the girl I love, and I'm like, F you.
Okay, you know why those are connected in my head is because I went on
at the same time.
I went on a secret church mission trip thing where you literally sign up. It's called the mystery trip, and so you go on a church retreat with all these like people from your youth group to random places you don't know about, and it ends up just being like shitty water parks throughout Texas. But in the van when we were driving like all throughout Texas, we'd be listening to CeeLo Green and Bruno Mars. Those two songs.
And that's it.
And that's it, over and over. Oh, and Call Me Maybe.
That make me believe in God.
Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen.
Oh,
Brittany Snow and the rest of the cast of Pitch Perfect.
So funny to bring up Brittany Snow.
I love Anna Kendrick.
Thank God for saying that out loud.
Sorry, but Scrappy Little Nobody is a good book.
I wish you could have named your memoir that.
I was hoping to name my memoir what Leah Michelle named her memoir, Brunette Ambition. But we can't always get what we want.
Anna Kendrick's almost everyone. I'm almost sure she's Nepo.
She's not Nepo, and if you read her book, you'd know how hard she fought as a child actress to get where she is today. She was miserable in Twilight 1.
Oh, really? She's so cute in that one, though. I think that's her cute.
Her and Aubrey Plaza are really good at fighting for what they want, and it's like you think you get to a certain place in your career when you have to stop like trying so hard. That's never true. That's never the case.
You have to try even harder.
You have to keep going. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep emailing.
Oh my God. No one has it easy.
All right, Ghostbusters. Bisquick was huge.
Wait. Was female Ghostbusters out in 2017?
I was going to say, so this is exactly the summer that I worked at Flick's Brewhouse, which is like Alamo Draft House.
Classic.
Got paid $2 an hour, but it was the summer that Girls Ghostbusters came out. And Bad Moms Christmas. So, or maybe it was the original Bad Moms. But all I remember was that everybody went to see Ghostbusters Girls and nobody left the theater happy.
Well, actually, no, Bad Moms Christmas was filmed later because I was living in my dorm when they were filming it outside my dorm.
So it was Bad Moms 1.
Yeah,
and by the way, I loved it because these moms would buy so many frosés, and frosés were lighter to carry than the 60-ounce sodas. So I loved when a mom would order frosé instead because it would be less weight for me to lift. And I had no muscle back then. I was running on pure grenadine.
Yeah, you didn't have Pilates 3 times a week.
Literally. But I bet they referenced Ghostbusters because they had just seen Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy in an outfit.
They did record it in 2016. It's filmed. So they might have just predicted the future Simpson style.
Simpson style. I never connected with that show.
No, but they're really good at predicting the future.
When anybody brings up Family Guy or The Simpsons, I'm like, I think you're misunderstanding who I am.
No, Family Guy is actually way queerer than we give it credit for. It's entered a queer zeitgeist.
The thing about this episode that would never happen now is Cop helping. That would they would never do that now.
No.
I mean, Jessa was, of course, really paving the way back then by being like, cops suck, everything sucks, these rules suck. Have more public bathrooms.
I think people have always been negative on the police, especially in New York.
This cop being like so gentle and following her home. Sorry, but cops would not do that. They'd be like, ma'am, here's a ticket, wear pants.
Well, this is why it's a work of fiction. And we always have to remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evan, be honest.
Oh.
Did you really think that the television program Girls would end with Hannah singing Fast Car to her son Grover upstate in New York alone?
It's not how I expected it to end, but when it ended that way, I'm not shocked.
I feel
I'm gonna ask you, Amelia. Yeah, oh, you do. Yeah, it's a beautiful ending. Like it's a subtle bit of like sarcasm and like self-awareness and like the nicheness that's always brought this show to me so much joy.
As much as I don't super love that the show had to end by Hannah going from girl to woman through motherhood, I understand that it is kind of can be true.
Yeah.
To be fair, it can kind of be true, and I think it could have ended in a worse way.
Almost every show has to end with a baby.
I know, yeah.
Kids are the things that end everything.
I just can't believe she's still 27, by the way. Her Saturn hasn't even returned.
20-something. It's Camila Cabello's new album.
Okay, I listened.
Yeah.
And I did not like what I heard.
Yeah, but your eyeshadow's very Camila Cabello. XOXO.
When I was listening and a song started playing, I'm like, the album must be over because this is just Drake alone.
Yeah, there's
and
one
then I
song where it
look
says Drake.
and I'm like, oh, Camila just has a song not featuring Drake. It's just Drake. Where is she? Where did she go?
It's kind of a brilliant marketing move. Like, we're literally talking about it right now.
I know. Okay. She knows what she's doing.
Her team does, at least. I've always thought like Camila doesn't, but her team does.
I'll never forget this, girl, because when COVID happened, I lived across the street from a bus stop, and the bench of the bus stop was a giant poster of Camila as Cinderella when Amazon Prime did that. And for my entire time in LA, every day I saw Camila as Cinderella.
Oh. My COVID experience is that her and Shawn Mendes lived with my best friends from college's neighborhood, and every single day she'd give us reports about how they looked on their morning walks, and it was always like a hoodie and a ill-fitting pair of pants.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, Coconut Grove, Miami.
Yeah.
It was famous, those photos. Sorry, I can't believe we can't end the podcast.
Sorry, we can't end Evan, reflecting on not the last 6 seasons of the show, but the last 6 seasons of our podcast, how do you feel, girl?
Well, this show for me has always meant so much. In college or even before that, when I started watching this show's always meant so much to me. Just in the inception of watching it, it was truly like.
Wait, sorry, I didn't realize Evan was about to get actually sentimental.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna be like slay. Okay, Evan's gonna give a speech that they actually have talking points to in their notes, and then we're gonna cut to me, who's not gonna be like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Since then.
Do you want to deliver your speech? I can leave the room if you want to do it alone, like to camera.
It might be easier.
Like a presidential,
It's my State of the Union.
Yeah, your State of the Union address.
You're a designated survivor. You have to leave the room just in case they bomb the Capitol building.
This is Evan's State of the Union address on the ending of the Girls Rewatch podcast.
When I first watched the show, I did see them in a very aspirational light, right? Where it's like, it felt very queer in a way that like they had inherent freedom to themselves and action. Like, as someone who very much felt like I had to stick into a very status quo from like high school to college, like try to get by, and then getting to watch these characters be so individually themselves, like living in Brooklyn and pursuing their creative paths and like to various successes, but like still getting to like literally like date boys or just like have fun in this very new way is something I always really aspired to. And it's like, yes, there was a narcissism there, but I really did ignore that. Like, it wasn't, to me, that was just part of the TV show. But the real beauty in it came from like how aspirational it felt like to like see the portrayal of something I didn't even know existed in the world, and like really helped motivate me to like move to Brooklyn and like want to pursue a life like theirs. And like what they had was something I really wanted, and doesn't like mean they had so much, but it's like I don't necessarily need so much. They just like these simple things that they did get were just simple things that I wanted as well. And this podcast really just like taught me that like I could get those things, and I have those things, and I get to live a lifestyle that like I get to talk about reflected in girls and so many of the problems they're going through or ways that they're growing. I get to reflect that into my own life every single week and be like, oh, I've achieved something I've really wanted. And I have, it's like this goal or this vision I have for myself. I get to live it every day. And like, that is so beautiful to me. And so much of like the show just always felt so real. Like, we've equated it to a reality TV show so many times because it doesn't take the stance where it's like, it's strictly a comedy or a drama. And like, they have to portray one thing, but like they find themselves always in the middle of everything, where like there is a comedy to everyday life. There's a drama to everyday life. There's these specific patterns to everyday life that we get to pursue.
Not to stop your speech, but I really wish the TV shows we had now would understand the mixing of drama and comedy in the same way. Because I swear to God, every comedy these days is actually just drama.
I know.
And girls, it's like, yeah, everything in this episode was serious, but every single line that was said was a joke.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing that anymore.
No, not at all.
We're really not seeing that. No offense. Bleep that.
LOL. Yeah, we were really just given a great opportunity to really look at this show. And I said this earlier in the episode, but just to reiterate, like, when this show first came out, it was faced with so much controversy, and some people watch it, and so many guests we talked to were like, when it first came out, I thought it was awful, or I thought it was crazy, because everyone online was saying, I can't believe these girls are nude online, and they are so narcissistic like this. And now we get to watch it 10 years later. And like, we get to really see it for what it was.
With the fact that it was ahead of its time.
It was ahead of its time.
And it like, has yet to be topped, I have to say. Like,
I know.
Diving into the specific dialogue and like plot points and the way these arcs are told every week, it just highlights the fact that like Lena Dunham really is a genius. And like, this is such a like intricate show. It's so well done. There's so much there to explore. Like, we look at like what other shows are like this, and it's not so easy to find. Like, nobody's this. And she was in her 20s. Oh my God. Shout out.
I know.
I feel like over the course of the podcast, I've just fallen more and more in love with Lena Dunham. I mean, remember when we started the podcast, we had that like segment that was like, Lena slay or Judd hey, where it was like, let's talk about what's problematic.
Right.
And then we're just like, oh, actually, I don't know if that's a point, but
no, it is. Like, we came from a lens where like we had appreciation for Lena Dunham, but wasn't like this full on crazy love for her. But the way that we've really had to dissect her work, we're like, we've only fallen much deeper in love with her.
Yeah, or like almost like we were going in the podcast with like holding on to like, it's the same thing where like society hated Taylor Swift for 4 years, and then we were like, we're not so mad at her anymore. Yeah. I know we're mad at her again because she's a billionaire now, and that's against the law for some reason. No, because
she's blocking every artist from the Billboard.
Okay, yeah, we're allowed to be mad at her. Whatever. Whatever. I feel like we started it like having consumed this idea like culturally that Lena was this problematic person, and as we dive more and more into her work, we've kind of gotten softer on it all.
Well, I think we just understood her genius more. Like, we were still, I think, affected by controversy that affected her.
Yeah.
Right. But I think part of the beauty of this specific podcast, if we give ourselves some credit, is that like we're able to separate it from that controversy and all the negative things said about it, and like really appreciate for the medium of art that it really was, and like how beautiful it was. And like so many people were upset by this because it was so ahead of its time. And just like it's upsetting to see stuff that's like at the forefront and like really makes you question things. That just triggers anger in everyone. That triggers their specific traumas or their patterns. And like, they're like, so many people can't watch the show because it's too cringy for them, because it's too close to their real lives, right? Then of course that makes you act out in a negative way. But now that we're like, we've been able to do this, and it feels like in a greater sense, just like the world as a whole is like kind of moving past that fact and really getting to appreciate this art as for it was. And like, even through the lens of like what it meant to be, it is a millennial white show at the end of the day, but like whatever that meant. And like it's a best time capsule of what it meant to be a millennial.
Yeah. So end of an era. It's been so fun diving in each week with all of you. We've had the absolute time of our lives. We love you so much. We have a few new re-records and potentially some new episodes on the way. So stay excited for that. But we are going on a little bit of a summer break.
Yeah. Love you. Thank you, everyone who supported us through this journey. I don't even know how much we can mention how much we love everyone, and like how really meaningful this project's been to us, and just all the love and support we've gotten from it. So many people who truthfully just like talk to us on the streets of Brooklyn and just like tell us what this podcast has meant to them. It really has made so much for me in my time in New York, and just thank you,
I never
everyone.
get tired of asking random strangers at random places what girl they are.
Literally, I'll never get tired of it.
Or hearing them talk about Beach House. Okay, love you.
Love you. Bye.